Hey everybody, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to week 51 in my Project Life album for 2024. All this week here on YouTube and the blog, I've been sharing my process videos and finished spreads for the last 5 weeks of 2024. Super happy to have it all wrapped up. Today, same as the previous days, working in a 9x12 album with page protectors and starting off using pieces from the Stories by the Month kit from December of 2024. So in this case, I have my 4x6 photos all printed out, and then most of the 3x4s this time are going to be some of the vellum pieces and vellum cards from the kit that I'm going to then embellish. I'm going to use this vellum piece that was a 4x6 vellum piece from that kit as the backer for my date card there. I'm going to add on another sticker, another label sticker. You can see I have lots of those label stickers there. They've always been, I've loved them for a long time, and so I have many of them in a variety of different colors, and it's one of those things that I've always held onto or kept in my stash because I return to using them again and again, whether I'm doing Project Life or a different project. So using the rolling date stamp to add this onto add the dates on there. That rolling date stamp is available in our shop now. You can also add it to your December daily box if you are doing any box ordering through our December daily process that's happening right now. You can see I had a little bit of trouble getting that tiny attacher there to staple, so I pulled out my second one because you got to have a backup. For this one, as I was deciding what kind of repeated embellishments I wanted to have, one of the things that I pulled out is this clear sticker sheet that we're offering this year for December Daily. The cute little bows on the top, and then it has some florals on the bottom. So playing around a little bit with adding those on to some of the vellum cards. You can see them a little bit easier on some of them. The darker one, it's harder to see. But I thought it turned out cute, especially on this one in particular, which I believe that is a die cut from last year's main kit, I think, for December Daily. It had some little sentiments on it, and I'm just adhering that onto the back of that jingle all the way that I used in the previous week. But the little bow, the little clear bow sticker looks so cute on that one. I'm excited to see how people end up using that in this year's December Daily project. For another repeated embellishment, this one that is what I am adding directly onto the photos. I'm using a set of label stickers. These are red foil circle label stickers that were offered at some time in the past. Again, I'm using a lot of my stash as I'm finishing this one up. I'm using a pen there, just adding on a little bit of journaling, and then I am adding a staple because I like the texture and I like how it makes it look like it is actually stuck down on there, even though it's a sticker. It's like makes it so it doesn't feel like it's floating, I think makes it feel like it's grounded when I put that stapler on there. But that's what I'm going to be doing for each of my 4x6 photos, is just adding on one of these circle stickers. That gives me the opportunity to add a little bit of journaling directly onto the photo. And then I think I will be adding some chipboard stars on there as well. One of the cards from that December Stories by the Month kit had a card that says December looks like this, and I really liked that sentiment, but also knew that I wasn't going to use that particular card, so I trimmed it out, and it's actually going to end up getting adhered onto that Holly journal card, and that'll be my main journaling card for this particular page. I'm also going to end up taking some little chipboard number circles that were a part of this December Daily, or the December Stories by the Month kit from last year, and adding those onto each of the circles to help when I write up the longer journaling. So at first I was considering, and I did use, these are clear stickers from last year's clear sticker sheet. It had a few different star shapes on there, and I had trimmed it off because I knew that those were ones that I might want to use in the future. And I'm adding them onto the the circle journaling spots that I'm using here. I actually end up pivoting and covering those up with chipboard stars. They're just easier to see, and that'll happen a little bit later in the process here. But again, still adding the label stickers on there, and then just adding a little bit of contextual journaling, basically like, what is this picture? What's happening in this picture? That's what I'm responding to when I am writing those on top. Again, adding the staple as well. This was so fun. I was so happy to finish this album and to get, how I think, many of us have things that are on our like mental list of things to do. And this felt like the right time this past weekend for me to take care of this. So adding that on there, talking a little bit about a mixed media book that I started last year. I actually haven't shared it yet. Right now, what it has in it is just paint. Like anytime I've had leftover paint, I've done one page, like painted a page in this little book. So at some point in the future, I'll probably pull it out and do something else with it. But it was started. I'll remember when it was started because I'll be able to find it in here and remember when it was started many moons ago. All right, so adding one more label sticker onto that one. That's a picture of one of my December daily stories from last year, where I did a big wreath thing with circles, ornament photos of people, circle photos of people. It was a fun one to put together. You can find that via all my December daily archives as well. Okay, so here I'm adding on the little chipboard stars. This set of chipboard stars, this might have been in the advent calendar last year. Our advent calendars are generally full of lots of good little pieces of things like chipboard stars and label stickers and additional word phrase stickers and fun little embellishments. So we have a new one of those available for this year. And I think we have some backstock of the one from last year as well. So you can find spoiler videos for those if you're interested in seeing what comes in our Advent sticker calendars. It's always fun. I was actually just going through the one for this year and pulling out the pieces that I think I'll probably incorporate into my December daily, and there was a lot of fun little elements in there. Okay, so now I'm stapling what the December looks like, and that's where I'm going to add my journaling. I'm adding a couple more of those little chipboard stars on either side of it. Another thing that I'm going to be doing in this one is I pulled out some more pieces from my stash. I was looking at one of my boxes is trees, and so I was thinking, maybe I want to put one of these trees on there. Really just kind of playing in my stash, right? Giving myself permission to look back in there. What are some things that I could use in this particular spread? Again, most of the 3x4s in this spread are just sentiment cards and or pattern cards that I'm adding embellishments onto. So sometimes that's a choice that I make. Other times I'm filling these with journal cards and or photos. In this case, I just didn't have a lot of extra photos from this particular week. I didn't take a lot of photos. So being able to just play with some of the embellishments and make use of them in this way made me really happy. That Santa's Coming circle there, that was a fun one to add on because it's gonna, turns the next spread includes Christmas Day. So I like the idea that we're getting closer to that. Then I've pulled out a felt tree that was from one of the past December daily releases. I'm layering that on top of a vellum card there. And then I'm going to find a word phrase sticker and add that on top. I've got a variety of different ones in there, and I end up, I think, adding a longer white word phrase sticker from a previous one. Yep, just gets added on there. So just a nice little cluster of something that's getting slipped into the pocket. You can also see where I added the chipboard stars to all of the label stickers, and now I'm going in and I'm adding the numbered chipboard circles that were a part of the chipboard in the 2024 Stories by the Month kit for December. I'm adding each of these on there because what that then did was give me some structure to the journaling that I'm going to write on that December looks like this journal card. So by adding the numbers on here, then I can literally say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and that just gives a kind of a path forward for my journaling. I decided to switch those two, partly because I liked having the darkest things on the bottom. From a visual standpoint, the darkest pieces are kind of like are the heaviest weight in terms of a visual thing. So I moved that one onto the bottom, and it's kind of nice to have where I have the dark green and then the dark black both on the bottom there. All right, so adding the chipboard number 5, and then the next thing that I'm going to do, or the last thing I'm going to do on this one, is add my journaling directly onto this card. Again, you can see there I'm putting the number 1, and that's going to get repeated with the other numbers as well. This is a Staedtler Lumocolor pen. Again, this is a permanent pen. It just was the one that I had right on my desk, and the first one that I reached for and or grabbed as I was adding in my journaling. Again, this is just a little bit of contextual journaling. It's not deep feeling journaling. It's more just using the photos that I had already printed as a jumping off point for telling stories of what was happening during this particular time of the year. All right, you guys, so I have one more spread for you tomorrow, which will be week 52. I believe that there were actually 53 weeks in 2024, or the last couple of days of December went into what would have been another week, but I just decided to finish it up with the next week, or just, all in one week, all in one spread. And then after that, I'll be sharing a look at my the full album that is August through December. Yes, that's what we're doing. So happy to have this wrapped up. All right, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back in on this one, and I'm going to underline, because that's pretty much what I always do with my handwritten journaling. Nice and messy lines, messy handwriting, messy for the win. All right, guys, I will be back here tomorrow with one more spread for my week 52 in my Project Life album for 2024.